Hello, everyone. My guest today is Kean Graham. He's the founder and creator of a company called Monetizemore.com, which empowers ad monetized publishers. All right, Kean, you ready to take us to the top?
Absolutely.
Okay, so walk us through this. This is obviously in the ad tech space. Is it a SaaS platform or is it a different monetization strategy?
It's a SaaS plus a service. So it's kind of like a combination.
Okay, so help us really understand that. Over the past 12 months, if you add up all your revenue, what percent was SaaS versus service?
It's combined for most publishers. So it kind of breaks down. We have starter publishers, which resells a demand source that is like the premium version of AdSense called Ad Exchange. We have Pro, where we sell an auction technology. And then we have Premium, which is a white glove service. And this is all intertwined with our reporting platform called PubGuru that gives them the deep stats to help them dig in and come up with a new ad optimization for their ad inventories.
So again, if you look at all your revenue over the past 12 months, what percent of that revenue would you say was SaaS?
That would, with SaaS combined, that would be about over 95%.
Oh, got it. So 95% SaaS with a little bit of service.
Yeah.
I see. Okay. Describe one of the customers that pays you. Can you name one?
Yeah, like one of them, boardpanda.com, Lifehack. We're big and growing in the Latam region. So we have a lot of big Brazilian pubs, for example. And we typically focus on the premium end. That's kind of a difference versus our competitors. We go for the larger, more sophisticated publishers.
So boardpanda.com, again, big publisher, art, photography, animals, funny, featured, all this stuff. Are they a LATAM focused company?
No, they have traffic from all over the world. They're based in Europe.
So how do they walk us through? They sign up with you guys. How do you help them?
So before they were running Google AdSense to monetize their ad inventory. And then we started working with them. We replaced their technology with our auction technology. And rather than Google just competing for their ad inventory, we created this auction where Google competes against Facebook, Amazon, Index Exchange, all these different bidders. Our technology chooses the highest bidder and places the advertiser in the ad placement. And we do that for hundreds of millions, sometimes billions of ad impressions, and that creates a large revenue increases, and we take a revenue share of that.
I see. And is the rev share the 5% of your business that you call service, or the rev share is the SaaS part of the business?
It's the SaaS part of the business.
I see. Okay, interesting. So just to be clear, Monetizemore helps publishers like Board Panda pit Google against Facebook, against other sort of platforms in terms of helping them get the best CPC or CPM.
Yep.
Interesting. Okay. And so I guess give us some context here. What year did you launch the company in?
Sorry?
When did you launch the company? What year?
2010.
2010. Okay. And then did you bootstrap or decide to raise?
Bootstrap from the beginning.
Bootstrap. Love that, man. Very cool.
Yeah.
And what's the team size today? How many folks?
Over 160.
Okay. 160 people spread out through the world, or what do they look like?
Yeah. All over the world, 100% remote.
100% remote. Interesting. So, I mean, what is that like? Were you remote before COVID, or you just went remote?
We were always remote. The vision from the beginning was to go remote. It was me for the first 3 years. And the reason I started the business was to live a location and schedule free lifestyle.
That's a good way to live it. How many engineers are on the team?
About 25.
25. So what do the rest of the folks do? What do the other 120 do?
A lot of the others are in ad optimization, kind of like customer success, working directly with them, account reps, doing ad optimization for them, helping them with their in-house ad operations teams to make sure that they get the most out of our technology and ultimately hit their ad revenue goals.
And Kean, do you have any quota carrying sales reps or no?
We have sales reps. However, it's based on commissions. There's no OTEs.
Got it. So there is no full-time salary. It's all based on commission.
There's full-time salaries plus commission.
Oh, there is. Okay. So how many sales reps do you have where there are commission components?
We have 5.
5. Okay. Walk us through that process for a second. How do you make sure that you fill their calendars with hot leads?
Well, so we one of our biggest competitive advantages is our content marketing, and we get over 95% of our leads from inbound. So we have a very active blog. We have a lot of evergreen pillar posts, and the traffic's coming in. We're very active on social media. We're answering questions on forums. We have an active YouTube channel, and we're getting constant leads, and we're hitting new records actually recently these months in terms of the sellable leads that are coming in.
How many?
Last month we were 160, and that's out of a total amount of leads of over 500. So we're rejecting most of them because we're on the premium end, and we reject for traffic reasons, for policy, traffic quality, all that. We're very picky.
Ignore the other components except just traffic volume. How much volume does a blog have to have? Well, first of all, sorry, are you selling to the blog is who's paying you. The blog is paying you a % of the revenue increase that you drive. Is that right?
Exactly.
Okay, not total ad spend, just only a % of what you increase over the baseline.
For some, yes. For others, it's their programmatic revenues, which is their unsold ad inventory, what they don't sell directly.
I see. Okay. So you of the 500 leads that come in, you only picked 160 to sort of work with. What's the traffic cutoff? What's the minimum traffic a site has to work with you?
So for starter, it's half a million page views per month. For professional, that's 10 million page views per month. And for premium, it's 20 million page views per month.
Okay. And I imagine each of those plans, you take a lower and lower percentage of the programmatic revenue?
Typically, the baseline is between 15 and 20%. In ad tech, things are negotiable. So the larger traffic volume makes it more negotiable.
Yeah. How do you, so like we had Bill Wise on with MediaOcean, right? And one of the things he told me is he feels like he's got a massive advantage because of the amount of volume he works with. He can really charge like a low percentage because of volume. And there's a lot of people that are bringing these sorts of teams in-house to do ads because of this sort of ad tax, where there's platforms like you that sit in the middle. Now, to be fair, I've heard of other founders where they're charging way more than 15 to 20% sitting in the middle. So I would say that you're pretty competitive there. But how do you think about that?
Yeah, for sure. Some really push on the revenue share side. Negotiation is really important in our industry. However, we compete with quality. I spoke about our auction technology, our reporting platform. We have other tools that are not offered by our competitors, and that's really what we bring to the table is that quality. We're a product-led business, and we want to compete on quality rather than price.
I think that makes good sense. And so how many of these publishers, how many of these customers are you working with now today?
Over 300.
300. Wow. Okay. Got it. So just to fill out earlier, when you said you had 500 sellable leads come in and 160 qualified, was that in like June, or what was the time those came in?
That was last month. Yeah.
In June. Okay. And so of the 160, using your sales reps, about how many will you close, convert to new customers?
Of those, we had a sell through of 26%. So that would give about like 40.
Yeah, 40 new customers. That's great. Okay, wow. So you really grew your customer base a ton in June. I mean, you went from 260 to 300 customers.
Yeah, things are really popping. It might be pandemic, and the pie definitely shrunk during the pandemic. However, we've really hit our stride. We kind of had a big kind of growth mark in Q4, which continued into 2020.
Why did growth shrink? When, for example, Target have to spend more money to drive clicks to their e-commerce brand since they can't rely on foot traffic anymore?
There's aspects of that, but overall, like in programmatic, a lot of them are big brand advertisers that really kind of slash their display advertising funds. And overall, when the ad spend pie shrinks, that means there's less money for publishers to earn. So the RPMs, which you called CPM, so the revenue per thousand ad impressions, those decreased overall starting in the middle of March.
I see. Okay. And give me a sense of volume you're processing. So in June, how much ad spend went through your platform?
Overall, in June, there was about 3 million.
About 3 million. Okay, great. So how do you get like 3 million? How do you turn that into 10 million and 30 million? Is that like, how do you, let's just say you can't add any new customers. You can only expand accounts. How do you get a larger portion of the inventory from these publishers? And how do you win that inventory over from them using, and selling it direct via Google?
Yeah. Well, typically what happens, especially with the large publishers, is they only want to start a little bit, right? They want to do like a split test to see if you can outperform what they're currently running. So they'll start you at 10%. And then once you kind of prove that you can make them more money, then they'll expand you more and more. So it's about winning those split tests. Sometimes we're doing split tests against competitors. So it's about winning these split tests. It's about having very efficient technology. So we're not slowing down the page. It has to be SEO friendly. It's about having these other upsell tools. Like, for example, another tool that we recently launched is called Traffic Cop, and it detects and blocks invalid traffic. So it prevents these publishers from getting banned by, say, Google AdSense and losing all their unpaid ad revenues overnight.
Don't some of these publishers, though, intentionally use some of these bots themselves to drive more clicks to their sites, specifically so they can monetize more?
Yes, some of it is pump-induced, and we have to be, kind of investigators to make sure we separate the ones who are genuine versus the ones who are not. And our Traffic Cop tool is part of that. We've also come up with other type of violations that publishers can do on purpose, like we call it ad setup policy violations. And it's things like hiding ads off the page, refreshing ads very aggressively, things like that. So we have technology that can now detect it and provide that information to the publishers. And then there's certain things that we see that we know that it's pub induced, and we deal with it accordingly because it can get pretty nasty, and we don't want to hurt our partnerships with Google and all the other ad networks.
So I land in Ink and they autoplay a video in the footer, which I'm never going to scroll down and see. Does that count as an impression or not?
That is an ad impression. We do tend to stay away from the video sticky ads. They're very intrusive, and they're kind of more short-term thinking. We're more of a long-term, bootstrap company that wants to go with less intrusive ads that you have. You continue to grow your traffic and get return traffic. So we stick with the less intrusive ads.
3 million through your platform in June 2020. So last month, across 300 publishers that are using you. If you take, again, between 15 and 20%, 20% of 3 million would be about $600,000 in revenue to the company in June. Is that accurate?
No. So when I say 3 million, because we accept the revenues on behalf of the publishers, and some we don't, especially the big ones. So the 3 million is an estimation of the ones we don't as well. In June, we were close to 400,000.
Okay, got it.
About 400,000.
So got it. So on 3 million going through your platform, whether you recognize it or not, you still made about $400,000 so that you could reinvest in your engineering, grow your team, support everybody, and keep building new tools like this traffic tool.
Yep, exactly. We're pouring in a lot of resources into our engineering team to have the best product in the ad tech industry.
That's great. Okay, so as you think about growing the company over the next 12 months, is it going to be more of a strategy of winning more business from current customers, winning more of these A/B tests, right? Or is it going to be you just mentioned record month in June, 40 new customers. It's going to be adding new customers altogether.
Yeah. So that keeps on flowing in. We're still going to be winning from that. But the big strategy is enterprise. We want to go for the big boys. We're talking top 1,000 ad monetized publishers. Our BHAG is to have 25% market share of the top 1,000 ad monetized publishers. And we're building solutions that are better fit for these enterprise publishers that are very sophisticated and need to be approached in a different way.
And so help me so people are going, okay, I wonder if Kean can execute that. They're going to think, well, what has he grown at historically? So if you're doing, call it 300, 400 grand a month today, what were you doing a year ago? Do you remember?
A year ago, we were at, for June, it was around 225.
So you still even have growth, even though sort of COVID has, just shocked the world.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we've grown despite COVID. In Q1, we were at close to around double revenue growth. It slowed down a bit for the pandemic, but we're still rolling along and still have that momentum from the growth back in Q4.
Besides your SEO strategy, you mentioned your YouTube channel. Are there any other channels you're using to drive growth? Again, you had 500 leads come in June alone.
We also have a free Chrome extension called PubGuru Ad Inspector. And what it allows publishers to do is they'll run it on their actual site that is ad monetized, and it'll crawl the whole page, find any errors, any warnings, any revenue opportunities, and it'll make very specific recommendations for their site to realize those opportunities or fix those errors. There's actionables of how to fix each one of those. And some of those are natural upsells to our products, right? We detect they're not running any IVT detection, then we will upsell Traffic Cop. If they're not running any auction monetization, which you call header bidding, then we'll recommend PubGuru header bidding. There's a lot of natural upsells within there that we've also been getting a lot of leads from. And the audience that's running PubGuru Ad Inspector has been growing consistently week to week.
So when you add up all of these sort of strategies to bring customers in, right, these great mouse traps, what would you say that your CAC is to acquire a new customer where you're making, $1,000 a month from them?
Yeah. So because we're mostly inbound, when we calculate CAC, we include all our fixed costs of the whole marketing department, and that comes to $150.
That's great. Yeah, so many CEOs don't do that because they want the CAC to look the best. But what I say is, listen, do like fully weighted CAC. Take all your expenses last month and divide by all your new customers. That's your worst case CAC. And then you can do a version that's only your marketing team. And then you can also do a version that's like only your paid spend, for example. But you choose to use just all marketing, salaries, expenses, support of a Chrome extension, all marketing.
Yep. Yeah. We even cut up Slack, all that. It's definitely worst case.
Well, $150 to get a new customer, and you're making on average across 300 customers about what is that, $1,300, $1,400 per month on average per customer. The math works. Yeah. We're quite profitable, and we have a conservative growth. We're doing the long play, but we're turning it up as we grow to more aggressively go for especially these large publishers. So how do you think about this as a personal? Do you own the majority of the company? Are you 100% owner?
100% base equity.
What does that mean?
We have stock options for our executives.
Oh, got it. Fair enough. But so you have 100% base. That's what I meant. So you could really choose to do whatever you want to do with the company. So you could launch a plan where profits are distributed out as dividends. You can just let profits, pile up in the bank account. You could pay profits out to the executive. I mean, how do you choose to handle profits as a bootstrap founder with full control?
Yeah. So right now we're keeping it within the company. There's a lot of reinvestment. One of the ways that we reinvest our profits is we buy content websites that are ad monetized, apply our technology, and then we increase the ad revenues immediately, and we get the full increase rather than a percentage of the increase. And we have a growth hacking team that also increases the traffic. So that's been a really nice return. In terms of dividends, I've never taken dividends for myself. I live pretty frugally and happily as a kind of nomad entrepreneur that travels around the world.
As we see the Christmas lights hung above your window behind you with sort of homemade curtains, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm from a small town, so I'm happy with the simple life.
I love that. And on $400,000 in sort of top line revenue each month, I mean, how much are you taking to the bottom line, would you say, before you go spend money on acquisitions?
We're not going to disclose the bottom line stuff, but we've been profitable every year, every one of our 10 years. And I can say that this year we're on track to be the most profitable we've ever been.
Congrats. It's great. Last question here before we wrap up. What's churn look like? And I imagine you probably measure churn by, if someone decreases the amount of spend through you, it's obviously revenue churn. If they leave you completely, it's full churn. So how would you measure churn?
Yeah. So we have revenue churn and customer churn. Revenue churn, we measure that as, the publisher goes down to 0 for 60 days. And that is 2.25% per month so far this year. But keep in mind, we had a big one in March. We had 10% churn in March. So, that one hurt. That kind of increased it. Usually it's close to the 1%. Our customer churn is 1.2% per month so far this year.
Got it. Yeah, so you've got about 20% churn basically on a logo and revenue basis annually.
Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah. Interesting. That's great. Very cool. Let's wrap up here, Kean, with the famous 5. Number 1, favorite business book.
Never split the difference.
Number 2, is there a CEO you're following or studying?
Russell Brunson, another bootstrapper.
I love that guy. And you're great too. I love, there's this flock of entrepreneurs like no one really knows about. I'm doing my best to try and get you guys out in the public more so people can realize there's another way to do it. You don't have to be like VC, you don't have to chase $1 billion valuation. All right. Number 3, what's your favorite online tool for building your company?
Google Drive. We heavily use it, all the different tools, and we apply a lot of automation.
Number 4, how many hours of sleep are you getting every night?
Around 8 hours.
And situation, married, single, kids?
Newly single.
There you go, guys. Listen up. Newly single. And Kean, any kids running around or no?
Nope.
All right. And how old are you?
I'm 34.
34. Last question. What do you wish you knew when you were 20?
To hire my CTO about 2 years earlier than I did.
Guys, there you have it. Monetizemore serving 300 publishers right now as their customers. Those publishers put $3 million in terms of ad spend earned through their platform, of which Kean made $400,000 in top line revenue just in June from that. So the company's doing north of, call it a $4 or $5 million run rate in terms of revenues, all bootstrapped, which you love, and highly profitable. He uses profits to go buy other content websites and run them internally with his growth hacking team. They've got a total team of about 160, 25 engineers as they look to continue to scale with healthy economics, $150 to get a new customer, payback obviously less than a month there. Kean, congrats on the growth. Thanks for taking us to the top.
Thank you so much.
One more thing before you go. We have a brand new show every Thursday at 1 p.m. Central. It's called Shark Tank for SaaS. We call it Deal or Bust. One founder comes on, 3 hungry buyers, they try and do a deal live, and the founder shares back-end dashboards, their expenses, their revenue, ARPU, CAC, LTV, you name it, they share it. And the buyers try and make a deal live. It is fun to watch every Thursday, 1 p.m. Central. Additionally, remember, these recorded founder interviews go live. We release them here on YouTube every day at 2 p.m. Central. To make sure you don't miss any of that, make sure you click the subscribe button below here on YouTube, the big red button, and then click the little bell notification to make sure you get notifications when we do go live. I wouldn't want you to miss breaking news in the SaaS world, whether it's an acquisition, a big fundraise, a big sale, a big profitability statement, or something else. I don't want you to miss it. Additionally, if you want to take this conversation deeper and further, we have by far the largest private Slack community for B2B SaaS founders. You want to get in there. We've probably talked about your tool if you're running a company or your firm if you're investing. You can go in there and quickly search and see what people are saying. Sign up for that at nathanlatka.com/Slack. In the meantime, I'm hanging out with you here on YouTube. I'll be in the comments for the next 30 minutes. Feel free to let me know what you thought about this episode. And if you enjoyed it, click the thumbs up. We get a lot of haters that are mad at how aggressive I am on these shows, but I do it so that we can all learn. We have to counter those people. We got to push them away. Click the thumbs up below to counter them and know that I appreciate your guys' support. All right, I'll be in the comments. See ya.